Now, let's go to slide 22, and you will find several comprehension questions on slide 22. There are 5 comprehension questions on this slide, and I want you to take 8 minutes to find the answers to these questions in the reading assignment that you read for today. So I want you to pause this video for 8 minutes, find the answers to these questions, and then after 8 minutes, I want you to turn the video on again, and we'll go over these answers together. So please pause your video now. Now that you've had time to look for the answers to these questions, let's see how well you did. So the first question is, who did the captain instruct to get into the lifeboats? Who did the captain instruct to get into the lifeboats? Well, he kept saying, women and children first. Women and children first. So that's who the captain instructed to get into the lifeboats. Women and children first. The second question is, who refused to obey the captain's instructions? Well, some women refused to obey the captain's instructions, especially the wives of husbands. And later we will talk some more about this. The third question is, what did Selene Yazbek find in her cabin when she went back to her room? This is from page 3 of the reading assignment. Well, if you look back on that page, you will find that Selene Yazbek found, when she went back to her room to try to get some of her things, she discovered that her room was completely flooded with water. Now this leads to question number 4. What almost happened to Selene Yazbek? Well, Selene Yazbek almost got locked inside her own room by the steward, because the steward was going from room to room, and he was locking up the rooms to prevent looting, to prevent people from stealing things. And so because of that, Selene Yazbek almost got locked in. Fortunately, she was able to pound on the door, and the steward opened the door, and she fled her room as quickly as possible. Number 5, why were the staff of the first-class a la carte restaurant at a disadvantage? You can find the answer to this question on page 7. And the answer is that the staff of the first-class a la carte restaurant were at a disadvantage because first, they were not passengers. They also were not part of the crew. They were simply chefs who had been hired to work on the Titanic. But there was one more reason why they were at a big disadvantage, and that is because they were also French and Italian. And at that time, people in England and to some extent in America were very suspicious of Frenchmen and Italians. Now, you also need to understand why this suspicion was there. You need to know that when the Titanic sank 2 years before the start of World War I. Now, the years that led up to World War I was a time of a lot of tension in Europe. Many nations in Europe were very distrustful of each other. And so this led people of each nation to be very distrustful of people from other nations and to be deeply suspicious of them. And so that's why these staff staff members of the first-class a la carte restaurant were at such a disadvantage.